In today's video, we will explore 7 effective psychological strategies to influence people and situations. Use them responsibly. Do not employ these tactics to cause harm. Before we begin with today's content, make sure to subscribe, activate notifications, and click the bell icon so you receive alerts every time we upload a new video. Now, let's dive into today's lesson. Pay close attention, as this information is extremely powerful. Today, I want to share 7 simple psychological strategies that will allow you to influence those around you. Remember to use them ethically and for good, as misusing these techniques can lead to negative consequences in your life. These strategies can be incredibly useful in different situations, not only benefiting you but also helping others. So, let's explore these 7 psychological tricks. I recommend taking notes, as each one can transform the way you interact with others and help you manage situations more effectively. I am sure that at some point in your life, you have wished for the ability to control a situation or influence a person, whether to stop someone from causing problems for you or to convince someone to help you. It is important to remember that these techniques should be used positively and in ways that benefit all parties involved, as misuse can result in negative consequences and bad karma, something that all followers of this channel understand very well. These skills of influence and persuasion are not imaginary superpowers. They are real techniques used in marketing, sales, and even in personal relationships. Understanding how the human mind works will not only allow you to know yourself better, but also help you understand others, which is essential for applying these techniques ethically. Today, we will delve into these 7 tricks. I assure you that the 7th trick is especially powerful and will be incredibly useful in situations where someone tries to manipulate or control you. With this last trick, you will be able to stop anyone attempting to abuse or negatively influence you. So, pay close attention and get ready to learn, because we are about to begin with the first trick. Today, I want to share with you a psychological technique based on strategic positioning when speaking with someone. This tactic can be used for your benefit or to influence the confidence of the other person. Never sit with your back to a door, an open staircase, a window, or a large glass panel. Let me explain why. When I first set up my office on the upper floor of my house, I had a staircase behind me, and I never felt comfortable. After researching, I discovered that this discomfort stems from an unconscious response in our primitive brain, which is wired to protect us from potential threats. This survival-oriented part of our brain makes us feel insecure when we have an open access point behind us, as it once meant that a predator could attack from behind. For this reason, whenever you sit for a meeting, make sure to have a wall behind you and the entrance in front of you. This will help you feel more secure and relaxed. This strategy will not only benefit you, but can also be used to influence others. If you want to have an advantage in a negotiation, you can position the other person so that they have their back to a door or window. This will make them unconsciously uncomfortable, which could lead them to close the deal more quickly or with less resistance. It is crucial to remember that these techniques should not be used for harmful manipulation, but rather to create a situation that benefits both parties. If you are dealing with an abusive person, this tactic can help you feel safer and gain the necessary advantage to protect yourself. Influence and persuasion techniques are powerful and should always be used ethically and responsibly to create mutual benefit, not just personal gain. Let me know in the comments if you found this first trick useful. Now let's move on to the second trick, which is crucial if you want to be liked by others. The second trick is very simple but extremely effective. Allow people to talk about themselves. Ask them something about their life and let them express themselves. This is a powerful psychological trick for influencing and persuading others, helping you build positive relationships. If you want to make more friends, shift the focus away from yourself and place it on others, allowing them to speak and share. This will make them automatically like you. Humans are made up of 3 parts: body, mind, and soul. Each of these has different needs. The body requires physiological needs such as eating, drinking, sleeping, and reproduction. The soul seeks growth and contribution, but the mind has specific needs, including recognition and self-importance. When you allow another person to talk about their life, experiences, and thoughts, you satisfy a key psychological need, the need to feel important. The human mind is always seeking survival. In ancient times, the most important people in a tribe had the highest chances of survival, whether it was the shaman, the strategic leader, the strongest warrior, or the pregnant woman. All of them occupied a vital place in the tribe. This evolutionary heritage has left us with an intrinsic need to feel important. Some satisfy this need by achieving success in life, while others may create conflicts to gain attention. If you can make someone feel important, they will appreciate you more. One of the most effective ways to do this is by allowing them to speak about themselves. Ask them questions and listen attentively. When people feel understood and valued, they will see you as someone friendly and likable. Let me know if you like this trick and if you plan to use it. Take notes on all these tricks. We have covered 2 out of 7 so far. Remember, the 7th trick is incredibly powerful, so stay tuned to learn more. The psychological trick number 3 is the subtle sign that someone likes you. If you want to know whether someone likes you, either as a friend or in a romantic sense, there is a very simple psychological trick you can observe. The next time you are in a group setting, whether with longtime friends or new acquaintances, pay attention to a moment when someone says something funny and everyone laughs. Observe who looks at you while laughing. That person feels a special affinity for you. This happens because in moments of joy and fun, we tend to seek eye contact with those we feel closest to. It is an unconscious reflex that we cannot control. So, if someone looks at you while laughing, it means they hold you in high regard, whether as a friend or a potential romantic partner. If you are the first person they look at, you are their favorite in the group. This not only helps you identify who appreciates you, but also reveals if someone has a romantic interest in you. On the other hand, if you do not want others to notice that you like someone, avoid looking directly at them during moments of laughter. Otherwise, those who know this trick will realize that you feel something special for that person. Now, the psychological trick number 4, how to avoid drama and conflict. Some people seem to be addicted to drama and conflict. Humans often repeat emotional patterns, and those who are dramatic will always find ways to create problems. Have you ever met someone like this? Let me know in the comments. So, what is the psychological trick to breaking this pattern? People are victims of their own unconscious habits. The key is to do something unexpected. When someone seeks conflict, they usually press on one of your emotional triggers, provoking a reaction from you. This creates an unconscious game in which both people fall into the same emotional frequency, generating drama. The best way to avoid this trap is to ignore the attempt at drama completely. There is a popular Spanish saying, "The best contempt is to ignore completely." This means that the best way to avoid drama is not to engage with it. If you ignore the attempt to create conflict, the other person will not expect it and will eventually change their behavior. Always keep in mind that when you are in control of your emotions, you dominate the situation. Write it down in the comments. Whenever I am in emotional control, I dominate the situation. If someone makes you lose emotional control, you lose both the battle and the war. It is essential to understand this in order to remain firm. The best way to break an attempt at an argument or drama is to ignore it completely. That negative energy will then be redirected elsewhere, where it can find a more receptive victim. Let me know if this psychological trick has been useful to you, and if you plan to apply it. Now, the psychological trick number 5, lowering defenses during important conversations. The next psychological trick is useful when you need to convey something important to someone and want to reduce their defensiveness. We all tend to be defensive in protecting our beliefs because our minds act as survival mechanisms. This simple trick can help you influence someone more effectively. Imagine that you need to communicate something relevant and the other person might be defensive. What you can do is take advantage of mealtime. Have you ever noticed that many business meetings take place during meals? This is no coincidence. When we eat, our stomach activates, and our brain automatically receives a signal that there is no danger. Historically, in ancient times, people did not eat until they were sure they were safe. As soon as you start eating, your mind relaxes. Salivation is a sign that the parasympathetic nervous system is activating, stimulating the vagus nerve and putting you in a receptive state. This is the opposite of the stress hormones that keep us alert and defensive. During a meal, these defensive barriers are lowered, making it easier to absorb important information. Let me illustrate this with a story. If you study the Bible, you will notice that Jesus of Nazareth gave many of his teachings during meals. This allowed his messages to penetrate better into the subconscious minds of his followers, as their conscious barriers were relaxed and did not block the information. This is why, when you need to communicate something significant, doing it over a meal can be highly effective. The person will be in a more receptive state and less defensive, making them more open to your message. Let me know if you found this psychological trick useful and if you plan to apply it. The psychological trick number 6 is speak with confidence and eliminate doubt. How many of you want to convey confidence and credibility when speaking so that others fully believe what you say? If this is your goal, there is one crucial aspect you must consider. Eliminate any sign of doubt from your speech. When you start a conversation by saying, "I think that," or "I believe that," you are planting a seed of uncertainty. These types of expressions weaken your message, making the other person perceive that you are not entirely sure about what you are saying. In marketing, this is known as pre-framing or mental pre-framing. When you prepare someone's mind with hesitant expressions, they become more inclined to doubt your words. That is why it is essential to communicate with absolute certainty. Use firm and confident language. Make sure your words do not leave room for doubt. Speaking with confidence means being fully convinced of what you are saying and transmitting that conviction when you communicate. Remember that most communication is nonverbal. This means that it is not just about what you say, but also how you say it. Your tone of voice, body posture, and choice of words are fundamental in projecting confidence. This is one of the most effective persuasion techniques. Speak with certainty and avoid words that convey doubt. Make a conscious effort to eliminate these expressions from your vocabulary, and you will see how your ability to influence others increases. Let me know in the comments if this psychological trick has been useful to you, and if you plan to apply it in your daily interactions. And finally, psychological trick number 7, the power of eye contact to stop intimidation. This is the 7th and most powerful technique. If you're like me and experienced bullying in school, you know how difficult it can be. Back then, I used to lower my head and look at the ground, which only gave more power to my bullies. But later I learned something that changed my life forever. When you are faced with a toxic or aggressive person who is trying to intimidate you, it is natural to want to look away, turn your gaze elsewhere, or even look down. But you must not do that. Instead, you must stand firm, look directly at that person, and fix your gaze on the area between their eyebrows, what is known as the third eye. This is the seat of the soul. Years ago, I read a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. In this book, there is a very inspiring story, the story of the little girl and the 50 cents. It was about a young African-American girl at a time when black people were treated as second-class citizens. Her father asked her to collect a 50-cent debt from a grumpy old plantation owner. The girl stood before the man and politely asked for the 50 cents. The man immediately dismissed her, but the girl did not move. She stood her ground, looked him straight in the eyes, and firmly repeated her demand. The man tried to intimidate her again, but she remained firm, never breaking eye contact. Eventually, the man felt intimidated himself and handed her the 50 cents. This story demonstrates the great power of conviction and determination. When you look someone directly between the eyebrows and stand your ground, you project a force and confidence that are difficult to ignore. This technique not only makes you appear more confident, but also sends a clear message: you will not be intimidated. The power of eye contact and body posture are extremely powerful tools. When you firmly believe in something, that conviction is reflected in your gaze and posture, and that can change the course of any situation. No one can stop you when you are sure of yourself and of what you are demanding. I hope this advice inspires you and is useful to you. If you think this video could help someone, don't hesitate to share it. Remember to subscribe and leave a like so you don't miss more content like this. Thank you for joining me in today's video. See you soon.